Hey, what's up, everybody? I was just watching Nostalgia Chick's Smurfette Principle that she did back, I think, in February. And she brings up some good points. You know, throughout generations and decades, the male equivalent, doesn't matter if it was cartoons or live action, was always the domination of it. We men basically, when it came to shows and movies, like I said, whether it was animated or live action or even CGI'd, heck, even video games, we would be the dominant ones in those categories. Why? Well, because it all goes back to the old philosophy of men are superior to women. And why is that? Well, if you want to look at biblical wise, you can almost say it's thanks to the whole Adam and Eve scenario, but that's a whole entire different story. But the truth of the matter is, throughout the years, throughout the decades and years, it has been proven that females are as equal in status with, like, when it comes to being the title characters, or being equal in status to the main characters. Now it's true. Now it's true that certain animation studios, it's true that certain animation studios throughout the years and decades would always give the male counterpart a female counterpart, or the male a female counterpart. For example, as Nostalgic Chip pointed out, you had things like Minnie was the female counterpart to Mickey, Daisy to Donald, Horse Color to Clarabelle, and then later on Goofy to Clarabelle, or Clarabelle to Horse Color and Clarabelle to Goofy. You get the idea. Even in the Looney Tunes, they had certain situations too. You had Petunia to Porky. Then later on, you had Honey Bunny to Bugs. And then much later on, you had Miss Daffy to Daffy. And you had that yellow cat, or whatever her name was, to Sylvester. And of course, you had Penelope to Pepe. So Warner Brothers had their share. And then, of course, you also had Hanna-Barbera. Hanna-Barbera had their own equality as well. Well, with the exception of just one, though, and that was Yogi Bear. And it wasn't until about 1961-62 that we finally got a female love interest for him in Cindy Bear. And it wasn't until 1964 that they had to change it from blue to tan brown to kind of make her color-wise equal to Yogi and Boo Boo. So they have had, so a female equivalent female counterpart has always been there for the male, no doubt about it. But like I said, they have also had their own title roles. They've also been shown as being the superiors, if you will. And I'm not talking superiors as in dominatrix and BDSMs and all that. I'm talking superior as in, basically lead roles, being the dominant ones. For example, you take a look at, you want to go into the 1980s? In fact, let's go a little before that, 1970s. Believe it or not, you had Hanna-Barbera give you a few cartoons in that category. Genie, and you had Penelope Pitstop. And I apologize for my dog in the background there. But again, you would have Penelope Pitstop and stuff like that. You had your leads. There's no doubt about it. The 1980s did show that as well. You had Gem, and as much as people hate to look at it, you had My Little Pony at times. And this showed that female characters could get the title roles and be the superiors of that product or that show. Now, I mean, I understand, where Chuck was coming from. It's basically the fact that every time a male was there, a female counterpart sometime down the line had to be created. It's true, they had to be. It's true, they had to be, but that's not necessarily true. I mean, have been, like I said, point out, have been situations where a female lead has been around first, and then the male counterpart has come in secondary. You take a look at Jem, like I mentioned, and Jem was the title character. It was mainly focused on her and everybody else. Rio came in and was a secondary character. So Rio was like the mini mouse, if you will, of Jem. So it did have its moments. And females being on teams, being part of teams throughout that time too, goes beyond just the 80s and the 90s. I mean, you take a look at the 70s, you had Scooby Doo. 70s and 80s, you had the Scooby Doo scenario. You had Speed Buggy. You had Josie and the Pussycats. I mean, all basically equal. Now, true, when it came to Scooby-Doo, in the early portions of Scooby-Doo, Daphne would end up getting captured a lot. There's no doubt about that. But as time went on, the people at Hanna-Barbera decided, you know what? Daphne needs to be treated equally. And that's what happened. She was treated equally. So, and I apologize for somebody's car alarm going off. Um, but yeah, she would be treated equally later on. In fact, you go right into the 80s, she basically became the leader of the group. And then you take a look at the more revised version, she's kind of on equal billing along with everybody else. The point is, throughout the 70s, 80s, and 90s, even 2000s, women were treated equally. They were given the equality. Yes, there were situations where they would be captured and the main hero, the male leads, would have to come and rescue them and whatever, but they were treated with equality. Take a look at the Super Mario Bros. Super Show. There are various times, yes, in the Mario cartoon portion of that show that Toadstool / Peach would get captured and whatever. Even in the Mario 3 and Mario All-Star spin-offs, she would get captured. But she was always, most of the time, treated on the same equality basis. Then, you take a look at Legend of Zelda. Zelda was treated equality-wise. Not because her name was just in the title, but because the people there wanted to show a strong female lead, not just somebody that needed to constantly be rescued. I mean, heck, they had Zelda join Link and Captain N, if you will, in that crossover. What does that tell you? Now, other shows have given the female the female members of the cast equality as well. For example, Rescue Rangers, one of my personal favorites, gave it to Gadget most of the time. She was always treated equally, and she always at times proved to be the hero of the group. In fact, there's several episodes to where she just steps up to the plate and it's like she never looks back. Episodes like The Case of the Cola Cult, Dirty Rotten Diapers, Gadget Goes Hawaiian, just to name a few. She is given that equality, but she's also given a chance on several occasions to shine. You take a look at Tailspin. You have Rebecca. Rebecca Cunningham, Becky, if you will, is put in the role of being the boss of Baloo. And you think that makes her more superior. It is. It does make her superior, employment-wise, but it puts her in equality character-wise with Baloo. And it gives her that equal opportunity because she stands up for Baloo at times, and he stands up for her. So, And she shines as well. She does shine. She does have her moments where she does shine. She can step up to the next level. And this has been shown in other Disney cartoons and Warner Brothers cartoons as well. I mean, Babs has been given the opportunity in Tiny Toons. I mean, Fifi and How I Spent My Vacation has been given the opportunity. I mean, they've all been given opportunity. So, again, though, I can understand why some people like Lindsay, Nostalgia Chick, look at the fact that people give it what is called the Smurfette principle. But even Smurfette stepped up to the plate a few times. That is why they also gave female characters parts as put them as members of teams, so they could shine and show that they're on an equal basis, if not a higher basis, than the male counterparts. Why do you think in Voltron they put the princess as part of the force, part of the Voltron force? Why do you think they did that? They did it to show she's more than just a princess, that she could actually take care of herself and take care of her people. Chitara in Thundercats the same way. Steelheart, if you will, in Silverhawks, same way. All shown that they could be on equal basis. If not higher than what the male equivalents were. And everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. Heck, you take a look at anime. Ghost in the Shell is a good example. Cowboy Bebop at times is a good example. Najica is a good example. And the list goes on. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a good example at times. Pokemon too. The thing is, yes, a majority of entertainment, live action or animation, has had the males dominate the equation. She brings up Transformers, and yes, for majority of the 2 seasons of G1, it was male equivalent. But when we got into G2, the reason, in my opinion, they introduced Alita and the female Autobots is to give you that kickstart to the fact that you were going to have a main female Autobot in the next few seasons. And that's what happened. I mean, why do you think they had, in the episode Sea Change, why do you think they had that female mermaid, female Alana? Why do you think they had her use the changing pool, or the shape-shifting pool, whatever you want to call it, towards the end of that episode? Why do you think they had her use it to turn herself into an Autobot that could turn into a gondola? Why do you think they did that? To show equality, to show that she's more than just a potential love interest. I mean, same goes even for one of my personal favorites, Sonic the Hedgehog, the Saturday morning cartoon, 1993 to 95. Yeah, Sally was a chipmunk, no doubt about it. And yeah, she was the love interest of Sonic. But she was shown to be more on equal basis, if not more so, than Sonic at times. And vice versa. Okay? And I know some people will hear that and say, like, well, that just proves our point. What I'm saying is, she was proven to be more than just, oh, I need to be rescued and all that. In fact, you want to look at concept art, she was originally supposed to be a hedgehog. But they changed it because they wanted to try something different. The point is, yes, a lot of the female gender throughout history of entertainment has been put into what is known as the Smurfette principle. Basically there for love interest, need to be rescued, and at times could have equality. But as I have proven, they have been shown to be more than just equality. They've been shown to have superiority at times. They have shown that they can hold their own, basically, without any help. And as far as You know, and as far as sometimes having to create a female counterpart just for the heck of it, yeah, they do that because they want to attract a good female audience. I mean, that is why I'm trying to think of it right now. That is why there have been certain shows that have done that to attract a female audience. I mean, when they did Beast Wars, they did Black Arachnia, they did that Tigra, whatever her name was. They did those two to show female equality, so that they could bring in that female audience. That's why they did that stuff. You know? That's why they had April O'Neil in Ninja Turtles. That's why they had Venus in Next Mutation. That's why they had Mona Lisa in Ninja Turtles. That's why they had Irma to show equality. Heck, that's why they had Ninjara in the comics of Ninja Turtles. To show equality and show that sometimes they could be, they're not just, oh, we're here to be the love interest and we're here to be rescued and all that. No. They show that they can handle their own, handle themselves on their own, and sometimes that they could prove to be more, they could do more than the male counterparts. So, in response to to the video she did in February, she does bring up some good points. I just thought I'd elaborate on them more and give more examples. So, if you got any comments down below, let me know. Comment if you like, and I'll talk. Do a video response if you like, and I'll talk to y'all later.